Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. In the third question, the student Kaushalya, he asked 4, 5, 6 questions. How this prana, the jiva is born? How does he enter the body? How does he get divided and makes the body stay? And how does he leave this body? And how he is maintaining a perfect balance between inside and outside? These are the questions. We have seen this. Now, tasmai sahovacha ati prashnan pritchasi brahmishtosi at iti tasmateham bravimi. Now the teacher says, ati prashnan pritchasi. You are asking exceptionally great questions. People normally don't ask this type of questions. Their question is, why I am suffering in life, why my wife is so terrible, and these are dummy questions. See, there was one great master in Ganesh Puri. You might have heard his name. His name was Nityananda Baba. And toward the end of his life, once he said, so many people came to me. All of them asking only the worldly things. Not a single person has ever asked me about the truth. Who wants the truth? We are lost only in this world. And yet we don't learn that this world cannot give us happiness. We are the source of happiness. Discover that, and not only you be happy, but spread that happiness around. Instead of that, we are begging for happiness from the world where it doesn't exist. See? As a Swami, I am a beggar, official beggar. So one day, I was going to some temple. And one beggar came and he said, please give me something. I said, you are asking another beggar. You are a beggar, I am a beggar. Beggar cannot give to a beggar. So we are begging happiness from the world. It can never be fulfilled. Therefore, if we have to ask the question, this type of questions. Who am I? Whence am I? Where am I? What am I? How am I? See, Vedaischa sarvai aham eva vidyaha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita says, of all the things in the scriptures, what is worthy of knowing is who is this I. Puja, go and close that door. Achha, somebody is coming. So, the question is, who is this I? Sarvaihi vedaihi aham eva vidyaha. See, aham, I, vidyaha, worthy of knowing. This I is worthy of knowing. All other things, where from you have come, how many times you are married, and how many children you have, and then what job you are doing, and when you are going to die, no need. These are all unwanted questions. What is worthy of knowing is find out as to who am I. Therefore, tasmai sahovacha ati prashnan pritchasi. And why you are asking these extraordinarily different questions from the routine questions? Because brahmishtosi. You want nothing short of the absolute reality. You want the absolute truth. Brahmishtosi. All other things in this world, here most of the students come for this, what do you course call this thing? Yoga course? DY? Okay, DY education. So they come over here. Now the purpose of studying this is not searching the truth. The purpose is you get a job in a school or college and then you can lead a life, and in their whole life they will never do the yoga. That's it. See, it is something like, somebody gave, let us say, me one elephant as a gift. Now that elephant can lift anything. I apply that elephant for a job to lift a papad. A papad can be lifted by anybody, but that elephant I use to lift the papad. Ram, Ram, Ram. In the same manner, this Yoga Shastra is meant for knowing the truth. Instead of that, we are only happy, we come here and then search for one partner and then go to China or Korea or here and there and get settled in life. Ram, 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 Ram. Because they are not Brahmishta, they are Brahmishta. They are lost in this world. So, tasmai sahovacha ati prashnan pritchasi brahmishtosi iti. And because you are a sincere seeker of truth, tasmat te aham bravimi, and therefore I talk to you properly. See, one basic thing, please understand this. In the worldly matters, when a question is asked, the question is addressed. But on the spiritual path, when a question is asked, the question is never addressed. It is the person who is addressed. See the basic difference. Because the teacher knows where from the question is coming. And what the teacher does is only change his standpoint. And when his standpoint is properly adjusted, proper focal length is adjusted, then the question doesn't require solution because the question gets dissolved. It need not be solved. See, friends. Therefore, ati prashnan pritchasi brahmishta asi. You are a real sincere seeker of truth. And therefore I shall tell you. So hereafter, if you ask a question to any Mahatma, and if you don't get a proper reply, understand, we are not Brahmishta, we are Brahmishta. Brahmishta means deluded. Okay, now the answer is given. Atmanaha esha prano jayate yatha esha purushe chaya etasmin etadadam manokrutena ayati asmin sharire. Atmanaha esha pranaha jayate. This jiva, soul, is born out of the absolute reality, the self. He is not born somewhere, from the clouds it falls. Like in the Yoga Shastra, this is the technique they tell, how the jivas are born. See? The jivas are plentifully available in the space, millions of them. And then when the rains fall, along with the drop of the rain, the jivas also come. They fall on the ground. Then that jiva which has fallen along the drops from the clouds, that jiva then enters the food. And then that food is eaten by somebody, then that jiva enters the seed of the person. And when that seed is implanted in the woman, then he is born. This is a very poetic and beautiful story, but this is only a story. So here the teacher says, Atmanaha esha pranaha jayate. This jiva is born out of you, the absolute reality. See? First of all, we'll tell you and then take few examples to make this point clear. And how yatha esha purushe chaya etasmin atadatam. Once I was somewhere in a temple, evening time, 5 o'clock or so, and it was a Shiva temple. So behind me was the sun In the center I was there, in front was Lord Shiva. Beautiful Shiva Linga. When I was standing there, my shadow straight away landed on that Shiva Linga. So I was thinking, how lucky the shadow is. I am unable to touch, but the shadow can directly touch. And afterwards, then I was just standing nearby in the open courtyard. I was the same, the sun was the same, the shadow was the same. And then from somewhere a doggy came. And on that particular spot where my shadow was there, he did namaskar, and then he did Atma Pradakshina, and then he lifted his hand, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. He did what he should not have done. So when he urinated on that shadow, will I say, oh God, I had to take a bath? Oh. Now the question is, where from the shadow has come? This is the question. Similarly, yatha esha purushe chhaya etasmin etat atatam. The jiva, like the shadow in the body. Now where is the shadow in the body? Oh, the whole body is permeated by the shadow. In the same manner, out of the Purusha, Atma, the self, the shadow comes out. Thereafter, now this shadow has come out of the person. Thereafter, Manokrutena ayati asmin sharire. Then this shadow, the jiva, he enters the body through the agency of mind. Now be attentive. If this is clear up to here, now to make it more distinct. When a man or a boy rather gets married to a girl, a husband is born. Now where from the husband has come? Oh, husband has come from the heavens. No. The husband has come out of the same man. Now next topic. How this husband who has come out of the same body or same man, how does he identify with himself with the husband? Thereafter he forgets that he is a man and he starts living as a husband. And as I told you, my original definition of husband means the one who has stopped laughing is called as husband. Has means smile, banda means stop. He who cannot smile is a husband. Have you seen any time any husband smiling? They cannot. See? One day, one man came from the service, church service, and he, pressed the call bell. A wife came, opened the door. And when she opened the door, husband lifted her and very comfortably carrying her to the kitchen dining table. So the wife said, hey, come on, today's service was romantic or what? He said, no, it was not romantic. The teacher, the pastor told, you should carry your burden yourself. See, friends. So, where from that husband has come and how he enters the husband? Only through the mind. See. So he gets identified with that husband who doesn't exist. Is husband any object? Like a man is an object. Can you show me the husband? Where is the husband in the man? Oh, he is on the top. No, it is empty. See? Where is the husband? It's only in the mind. See, friends, therefore, Atmanaha esha pranaha jayate yatha eshe purushe chhaya etasmin etat atatam manokrutena ayati asmin sharire. Now the basic principle, please understand. Anything which is included in our mind, that alone exists for us. That which is not included in our mind doesn't exist for us. How simple it is. In the deep sleep, the mind drops the body. And therefore, in the deep sleep, we are neither husband nor wife, nor brother nor sister, nor mother-in-law. Everything disappears. So the question is, in the deep sleep, where the husband goes? Because he is snoring loudly. He who cannot dare open his mouth in front of his wife during the daytime, at night he is snoring so loudly. How come? See? Or some husbands, they talk a lot in the sleep. How come? One couple went to the doctor and she told, he talks a lot at night, give some medicine. So doctor gave. He said, you take it. Doctor, you have got doubt. I am not having problem. He is having the problem. Yes, I know that. You take this. Then what will happen? Then you will stop talking. Then he can talk once in a while. Because you don't allow him to talk for the whole day, he talks at night. Identification with the mind is the creation of the jiva. Now take day-to-day examples in the world. She is my wife. Then I fight with her. Divorce. She is not my wife. So when she is my wife, I am a husband. When she is not my wife, I am not a husband. Then how do we introduce, oh, he is my ex-husband. Ex means unknown. Unknown means which never existed. Where is this jiva soul? Like the husband is miserable, not the man. In the same manner, the soul is miserable, not Paramatma, the Supreme Self that we are. So, Manokrutena ayati asmin sharire. That means, after the mind and the body become identified, then only the jiva starts residing in this particular body. Thereafter, how does it get divided? It is said, Yatha samrada eva adhikratan viniyunkte etan graman adhitishtasva iti evam esha pranaha itaran pranam pruthak pruthak eva sannidhatte. Just like a king, after having conquered a particular kingdom, then he appoints the officer in charge. You are the in charge of this district, you are the in charge of that district, you are the in charge of this. In this manner, he gives the powers to the various persons who will be thereafter taking care of that department. In the same manner, this prana, the jiva, also divides the workload according to the requirement, and prana thus become divided. See? So when a minister is appointed by the Prime Minister, it is the Prime Minister alone who is functioning through that minister. See? Because the powers are not in that minister. The powers of the Prime Minister are invested in that minister. In the same manner, the jiva alone gives powers to the various departments of life, prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. And this is how the life is maintained. Now, how and where, who is appointed? Payupaste sthanam apanam chakshush shrotre mukhanasikaabhyam prana swayam pradishtate madhye tu samanaha eshahi etad utam annam samam nayati tasmad eta saptarjisho bhavanti. Now the various appointments. Who is appointed where? Payupaste, in the anus and in the organ of procreation and organ of excretion, it is the apana vayu which is established. See? Thereafter, the mukhanasikaabhyam pranaha swayam pratisthate, in the head, the mouth and the nose, etc., it is mainly the prana that is established. Madhye tu samanaha. In the center of the body, it is the samana vayu. Esha hi hutam etad annam swam samam nayati. And the samana vayu is responsible for digestion process, and because of the digestion, the food is supplied throughout the body to all the organs, and thus the life is kindled. And the life is saptarchisho bhavanti. The two eyes, the two ears, the two nostrils, and the tongue which is tasting. These 7 flames of life start manifesting because of the samana vayu, which is responsible for digestion, assimilation, and distribution of the food in the body. Hrudi esha atma. And where is the jiva? The jiva has appointed these 3 fellows, prana, apana, and samana. Now, where is the jiva residing? According to Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is said, the jiva resides in the waking experience in the right eye. In the dream, the jiva resides in the throat. And in the deep sleep, the jiva resides in the bloody heart. So these are the 3 places where the soul remains in 3 experiences. Now here the teacher says, Hridi esha atma. Now the jiva is residing in the heart. And what is that heart? Atra etat shakam nadyanam nadinam tasam shatam ekaikasya dvasaptati pratishakha nadi sahasrani bhavanti asu vyanascharati. Now the jiva is residing in the heart, and from the heart there are 101 types of nadis. They come out, and each one of them are further divided into 72,000 each of them. And thus there is a complete network of supply chain throughout the body. And in these, the Vyana Vayu, that is constantly moving. So we are taken care of Prana, Apana, Samana, and the Vyana. Now the next Vayu, which is responsible for maintaining life in the body, is Udana. Atha ekayo urdhvam udanaha punyam lokaneti papena papam upabhyameva manushya lokam. Now it is said how this body or how this jiva, the soul, leaves this body, what is the way? So it is explained here. Of all the atha ekayoho, see there are 72,000 nadis all over the body. Out of that, one nadi called as Sushumna. See, there are mainly the 3 of them. The right channel, left channel, and the central channel. When the right and the left, the Ida and the Pingla, when they are perfectly balanced, that is the inauguration of the Sushumna nadi. And through the Sushumna nadi, the jiva leaves the body. See? And those who are the rogi and, indulgent and useless type of people, they don't go from above because the door is closed. They have to go from below. So, what is that which takes it? It is the Udana Vayu. So, Udana Vayu is responsible for ejecting the jiva from the body. See, like we all have seen on the TV at least, how the various spacecrafts are launched in the space. From below there is a huge powerful Udana Vayu, and it works against the gravity force, and slowly it is propelling up in the sky. In the same manner, this jiva is holding on to this body, but this Udana Vayu at the time of the leaving the body, then this Udana Vayu throws that jiva out of the Sushumna Nadi through the Brahmarandra up there. And where do they go, the jiva, after having left the body? Punyena punyam lokam jayati. If he has been leading a meritorious life, good life, a quality life, dharmayukta life, then that jiva enters the divine kingdoms like heavens, etc. And Punyena punyalokam nayati papena papam. And those who have been leading a most disgusted criminal life, they enter the hell. See? One day, I was in Delhi probably, and in between the two sides of roads, there was one divider where many plants were planted. And all the emissions from the cars, they will go and directly land on those plants. And the plants were looking so dirty and miserable. But what they can do? They can't do nothing. So the lady who was driving me, she asked me this question, Swamiji, what sins these plants must have done? They have to receive all the emissions of every car. I feel so sorry for them. I said, don't feel sorry. It is said in the Upanishad, when they were ministers in the Delhi, they were torturing the whole society, and therefore, as a result of their own karma, they didn't want to leave Delhi. So they are born again in Delhi. And as a result, the whole emissions goes on them. It sounds so good. We take the jiva to be real. So, atha ekayo urdvam udanena udanaha punyena punyam lokam nayati papena papam and ubhabhyam eva manushya lokam. And when we have both the sins and merits almost proportionate, not exactly proportionate, almost proportionate. In that proportion, if we have more of merit and less of the sin, then we are born in rich, cultured, decent families. And if somebody is having more of punya, merit, and he is totally dispassionate, he doesn't want anything from this world. He is so purified. See, athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam. Such jivas are born in the families where spiritual life is right from the childhood. Because the process of evolution takes care of his placement where he should go. And those who are leading a very criminal life, they are born in the most disgusted life. Like we come across throughout the world, many children, they are in such a miserable condition. It is not that God is happy to punish them. All of us get in this world what we have sown the seeds. If we have sown the chili seeds, don't expect tomatoes will come out of it. That is why it is said that how we live in this world determines our this life as well as the next life. So, ubhabhyam manushya lokam, and this is how the jiva is born as a human being. That means there are three options. If good karma is done, you go to the heavenly life. Bad karma is done, you go to the horrible life. And if you are having a proper balance, then you are again born as a human being. This is how inside the Atma, having become the Jiva, gets differentiated and maintains the life in the body. Now outside, because the question was how he is getting divided and living inside and outside. Kena utkramante, how does he leave the body, we have seen, and bayam abhidatte katham adhyatmam, how he is holding on to the outer world, this also is now being said. In the 8th mantra, Adityo havai bhaya pranaha udayati esha yenam chakshusham pranam anugrunnana prithivyam ya devata saisha purushasya apanam avashtabhya antara yadakasha samano vayurvyanaha. So the four vayus are now told. Aditya havai bhaya pranaha udayati esha yena chakshusham pranam anugrunnana. Now please understand, the sun in the outer world is Adi Bhautik. The potentiality of the sun is Adi Daivik. Because of the grace of the sun, the eyes have the vision, it is Adhyatmic. Three of them. So the one which we see in the sky hanging as a bulb, that is a material sun. The Adi-Devik sun is the one where the stories come. Karna was born out of the sun. So the Karna as the sun as a person, because of whose grace Kunti conceived and got the son Karna, that Surya is Adi-Devik, the divine sun. Similarly, that sun which is blessing our eyes and the vision is possible, that is Adhyatmic sun. Now this is the unique thing in our scriptures. You will not get anywhere. Anywhere there is hardly anything. The depth that you get over here, you don't get in any place in the whole world. Everything has got its three aspects. The structural, functional and subjective. Take for example eyes. The eyes that we see, they are structural. Then the vision is functional. And the seer through the eyes is the subjective. See? Many times it happens our eyes are open, they are functional, but we are lost somewhere. And somebody comes in front of us and goes and we don't even see. And then he says, come on, you are acting very smart these days, even don't recognize me. Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't see you. No, you saw me. Because that Adhyatmic subjective self was not there. See, friends. So, Adityaho vai Bahya Pranaha. So, the external prana in the total world is the sun. And when the sun rises, then only the vision comes in the eyes. In the darkness, eyes cannot see. And this is how the external prana and the internal prana, they are having proper synchronization. And this is how the life is maintained in the body. Second thing, Pruthivyaya Devata Saisha Purushasya Apanam Avashtabhya. Now, the earth again has got these three functions. Now, this Prithvi, what he does, that the Apana Vayu, which is the lower part of the human body, that Apana Vayu from the human body and the presiding deity of the earth, they are in synchronization, and this is how the body is maintained vertical on the body, on the ground. Whenever there is a vertigo, one is not able to balance. That time this Apana Vayu displacement has happened, and then one is not able to walk properly. This is how, if there is no force of gravity, none of the plane or aeroplane or the trains etc. can work perfectly. All these vehicles are moving perfectly because of the hold of the earth on all these things. One day, one teacher asked this question. Imagine if the earth gives away its power of gravity for a few seconds. What will happen? So the children started thinking, we'll all fall. The question is where? Where will you fall? There is no place to fall. See? So it is the Apana Vayu of the human and the Apana, the Devata of the Prithvi, they are holding together, and this is how the external and the internal synchronization happens. Then, Yadakashaha sa samano vayurvyanaha, and the space that we see outside, that is the samana, because everything is moving here equally, there is no differentiation of any kind, and Vayu Vyanaha, and the air which is moving in the sky, that is the Vyana Shakti. And in this manner, the internal Vyana and the external air, unless they are in communication with each other, life is not possible. External heat and internal heat, if it is not together, life is not possible. In the same manner, external waters and internal waters, if they are not together, life is not possible. This is how the life is maintained in the body by a perfect balance of relationship between the internal and the outer, and they are the same, they are not different. So, Samano Vayu. तेजो हवा उदानः तस्मात् उपशांत तेजः पुनर्भवम इंद्रिय मनसि संपद्यमानैः. And teja, the heat of the sun, is udana vayu. And what the udana vayu does? Leaves the body, the jiva ejects out of the body through the udana shakti, udana vayu. And therefore, when the heat goes out of the body, it is said that a person is dead. So the external heat and the inner heat, it is maintained together by this channel of udana vayu. In this manner, the internal and the external pancha pranas are explained, and this is how the jiva goes from one body to the another body. See? So, yat chittaha tena esha pranam ayati pranas tejasa yukta saha atmana yatha sankalpitam lokam nayati. Now be very attentive. So this jiva now, what is this jiva? This is one point which is very, very subtle, and most of us mistake these stories. And instead of concluding the right understanding, we get lost into the wrong knowledge. First, see, if you have got, let us take a cassette. The cassette is blank. Now on that cassette, you record something and play. Whatever is recorded, that only will come. And then you lend your cassette to somebody else. So he takes that cassette and he plays in his tape recorder. There what will come? The same will come. Whatever is recorded on the tape. If this is clear, in the same manner, this jiva, while functioning through the life, whatever good or bad things have happened to him, impressions he has collected on his mind, with that mind he goes. Now how does he go? He is present everywhere and he is present nowhere. Like, when I am standing here and there is a bright light from this side, so on the other side there will be a shadow. Then this light is switched off. Oh, where the shadow has gone? I don't know where it has gone. Then we go somewhere else. Again the light is focused. Again the shadow comes. Is it the same shadow which we saw in Kaivalya or is it other shadow? Shadow is not an individuality. It can appear every moment. Exactly the same way. Take another example. The electrical energy passing through the bulb, light is produced. Now what that light will do? Whatever is in front, that will be illuminated by the light. Then we switch off. And things have changed. And then we switch on. Then what the light will do? Whatever is there, that will be illumined. The light has no attraction or repulsion for anything. Exactly the same way, the jiva is born every moment, a new thing happens. Misery, miserable I is born. Joy, joyful jiva is born. Marriage, the husband jiva is born. See? And when there is a disidentification, where the jiva goes? Nowhere. Because he was nowhere. See friends, this jiva has gone so deeply in our understanding that we are unable to leave. I saw in one book somewhere when I was in UK recently, some nice book I was reading. There was one cartoon. Cartoon was very good. The child asked his father, Dad, yes, why they construct so heavy things on the grave of these people? See, this person we don't know, such a heavy thing is constructed on that. Why? He is anyway dead and gone, why construct? No, no, son, you don't know. Those who are alive, they construct it heavy. So that when the day of judgment comes, this fellow will take more time to remove it. By then I will go, bypass and reach first to the God. Therefore they have this construction. So, there is one jiva in each grave. Because in each grave there is one body. See, this is how all the religions talk about this. And this is how the jiva is born, goes, nothing like that. So here the teacher says, Yachittaha tena esha pranam ayati pranasthedasa yukta sahatmana. So whatever is, the sankalpa, the thoughts, the impressions on the mind, on the basis of that, this jiva carries that mind. So jiva is nothing but an expression. And then wherever the mind goes, with the impression that is seen. Like wherever the cassette goes, if there is something printed on the cassette, that will be heard. If the cassette is totally blank, nobody will lend a blank cassette to anybody. It dissolves there itself. Therefore, all the spiritual practice is, don't bother about the jiva, only see that the mind is totally free from all the impressions of likes and dislikes. Do you know what will be the condition of that experience? That experience will be like a mirror. Mirror reflects everything, rejects nothing. At the same time, retains nothing. Mirror doesn't react. See? Suppose some beautiful girl goes and stands in front of the mirror doesn't say, come on dear, hang around a little more, don't go quickly. And if you oldie like me goes in front of the mirror doesn't say, hey, come on, get away, let somebody else come. No. See, in the same manner, when the mind is, be attentive, when the mind is free from all impressions, be attentive, when the mind is free from all impressions, through that impression free mind, when the supreme reality expresses, that is called as the divine manifestation. When the same mind with lots of impressions, likes, dislike, friends, enemies, achievement, failure, past, future, present, all these impressions, when the mind is thus contaminated by many dirty things, and through that when the pure self expresses, it is called as the jiva. See? Take another example. If you have got a film and you throw the light through the film, the movie will be seen on the screen. But if the film is totally blank and let the light go through the film, no movie will be seen. Exactly the same way, for the wise man whose mind is totally free from all impressions, he won't even have a question or a doubt about anything in this world. One of the simplest thumb rule I'll tell you, try to work on it. What is God? That about which we have no question, no doubt is God. No find out. What is that? About which we have no question, no doubt? It is our own presence. We have no doubt. We may have a doubt. Did you study this? I don't remember. Maybe I might have studied. Second thing, What is on the palm? A paperweight. Now there is no paperweight. So this object we have known in two ways. It is present, it is absent. Whether you have studied this Upanishad, I don't remember, maybe I have studied, doubt. Now these two options, whether is or is not, doubt, do they apply to our own presence? We have no doubt whether I am there or not. And second thing, is this my presence like the object? Does this presence have an option that sometime I am present, sometime I am not present? No, it is a non-optional experience. Where the jiva has gone, where the soul has gone. Therefore, don't entertain any question. That is the reason I very rarely entertain question-answer sessions. You must have seen most of the Mahatmas, they are very fond of asking question-reply. I am totally against it. I was somewhere in US, we went to meet one Mahatma. So, after going Namaskar Chamatkar, then the Mahatma ji asked my friends with whom I have gone, yes, you have got some questions you can ask me. So they looked at me, because I never entertained any question. So they were thinking, Swamiji, I said, you are asking me again whether to ask question or not, you decide. And then that Mahatma told, no, we have to ask the question, then only the doubts are removed. So, unless we ask the question, doubts are not removed. And then so many quotations are given. See, it is said that pariprashnena sevaya, go and ask the teacher, ask the teacher. So ask. So, the student is asking question and the teacher is replying. And it goes and on and on and on. There is no end to it. Why not practice this simple thing? There is nothing to be inquired into our presence. How simple life becomes. But we struggle. We want to prove something to the world. We want to justify something. If somebody calls us a fool, we should be thankful. Oh, thank you, you reminded me, I forgot. But we try to prove ourselves. Try this thing, very important. Never try to prove anything to anybody in this world. Be yourself. Janan apihi medhavi jadavallokamacharet. Very clearly it is said, even if you know, remain in this world like a dumb. See? It is better to keep mouth shut and be labelled as a fool by the world than to open the mouth and give the confirmation. How true it is. Keep the mouth shut and nothing to talk. See? So, this jiva goes from one body to another body. And what is the other body? There also the same mind. And in that mind, different type of samskar. See? This is how nobody teaches a fish how to swim. See, the other day I was seeing on, I think, Animal Planet or somewhere, some documentary, and I was so surprised. And it is a very rare kind of snake. Snakes being amphibians, they lay eggs and then the babies are born. But this particular snake was a unique one, some peculiar name they are told, very long, what you never understand. And that huge lady snake, Very huge it was. It was not a python, a snake only. And was sometime going outside the waters and basking in the sun for some time. Then again she will go inside the water and stay there and again come out. Like that, some time they are told. And then at the time of delivery, that snake goes inside the water, and then one by one snake came out from her body, from her lower part. One by one, 2, 3, at least more than about 100, 200 like that. Maybe of this size like that. So, I was just thinking, these fellows are directly falling in the water, they will sink. But they are not sinking. They are swimming. Where from they learnt it? See? Therefore, these are all the sanskar on the mind. No child is required to be taught that you eat by the mouth. See? Nobody is required to be taught that you have to see by the eyes. Nobody is required to teach that you have to hear by the ears. When you do like this, the child looks like this. Or to hear where from the sound is coming. Because this is all happening in the mind. And with that mind, when this soul, the jiva, gets identified, he becomes that. And this is how the story continues. And after this particular body has become useless, good for nothing, but the mind is still contaminated with many likes and dislikes, then yatha sankalpitam lokam nayati. Then this jiva with the mind takes the jiva and the mind wherever the last thought was. Yatha sankalpitam lokam. So the last thought is the most important according to this philosophy of the soul or the jiva. See? Last thought is our blueprint which we hand over to the God. Oh, the divine contractor, this is my blueprint. According to that, we get the next body. And there is a story which comes in the Bhagavad Mahapuran that there was a Jad Bharat, a great saint. His earlier life is told. He goes, to the forest and does tapasya, and there he falls in love with a baby deer. Because one pregnant deer, she was grazing, and somewhere the lion roared, and she got frightened, and she jumps across the rivulet. And in that hurry, she delivers, and the baby falls in the waters. So this person who has gone for all doing tapasya, renunciation of everything, so I can do tapasya. He saw that baby falling in the waters, so he got up and lifted that small baby and took care. They started feeding the milk and slowly became so much attached to that dirty animal that is not ready to leave that animal. Everything forgotten. What for we have taken this spiritual life, that is forgotten. And thereafter, when the baby is growing, naturally a stage comes when the children don't want parents, they want their girlfriend, boyfriends. So this baby also became grown up and was searching of his own kind. And when that baby became grown up and went away, now this Mahatma all the time thinking about what will be happening to my baby. He was not able to eat even himself. I had to feed him, I had to coax him. He didn't know even how to cut the grass. I had to cut and give him. And all the time worried about that deer. And one day, died. Next life he was born as a deer. Now apply this principle. See? Last thought. The other day, for the first time, in 80s or late 80s sometime, I went to USA and just to see what are the things like, so I opted for one volunteer's job. And in that voluntary job, I was given assignment to go to the hospital and sit near a patient and talk to them, so that they get cheered up. So I went, first time. And that lady was an old lady, I said, hey, hi, how are you, Mama? I am not your mother. I said, okay, how are you? My name is Maggie. So I thought, 2 minutes noodles. In India, we have got 2 minutes noodles. So I put you in the boiling water and eat. So then I say, hi Maggie, how are you? Fine. Thereafter, then I ask her, how are the things at home? You are here to talk to me or listen to me? I said, whatever you say, you have to listen to me. You are a volunteer, is it not? Yes, you have to listen to me. All right, I said. For 45 minutes, she was talking only about her dog. No mother, no father, no uncle, no auntie, no grandfather, no children, no nothing. Only about dog, 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 dog. Now such a person who is all the time only thinking about dog, after I die, what will happen to my dog? What will be the next life? Wow, wow, wow. Again born as a dog. See friends, get this point very clear in life. That is why it is said, when we breathe, with that breathing, keep on chanting Lord's name. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. The mind will not form any shape. No blueprint is created. And then such a person merges ultimately in the Absolute. And this happens even while you are alive. We don't have to die for that. See, thereafter we no more live as a body, but then through us the divine expresses. And divine expression is only 3 ways. One, you live, you let others live. See, you don't cheat anybody and don't get cheated by anybody. You don't hurt anybody and you don't get hurt by anybody. See? Then the truth is revealed. See friends. य एवं विद्वान प्राणम वेद न अस्य प्रजाहीयते अमृते भवति तदेश श्लोकः. So, evam, in this manner, he who knows this is the meaning of the jiva. He who knows pranam veda, na asya prajahiyate, his children never die. Why his children never die? Because they are never his. I'll tell you one simple thing. Try. Children are born through us. They are not born to us. See? According to Bhagavad Mahapuran, when the zygote is formed, then it starts multiplying up to the age of 5 months. The whole body is formed and the heart is formed. Till then, there is no body living in that body. It was under construction. And at the age of 5 months or so, then the jiva enters that body. Jiva is not created by the parents. The body doesn't live the life, the embodied lives the life. So like we have some investment property and we give it on rent, so the property may be created by us, but the tenant is not created by us. And what kind of life the tenant lives in that house, whether he is organizing discourses or disco, the owner of the property has no choice, no control. But we get so much attached. My children, my husband, my wife, Ram, 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 Ram. See? This is only because of no clear understanding. Like, many parents have got this funny, wrong notion that the children need us. It is the other way around. When the marriage happens, if the children are not born to that couple, then the unborn child is not wanting the parents. It is the parents who want the children. See? But what is the arrogance, See, I gave you birth. Who wanted? You unnecessarily bulled me this world. And then become miserable in life. See, friends, get out of that clutch of attachment. Then only the truth is revealed. Ya evam vidvan pranam veda nasya prajahiyate amruto bhavati. He attains real immortality. And there is a shloka about it, which we'll take in our next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.